Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 19 of Let's Play Tyranny. In the last part, we recruited Kills in Shadow, although slightly against our will. And in this part, we're going to continue on to where we were going, which is the Blade Graveyard, I think it is. Yeah, Sentinel Stand. An encounter in the Blade Grave. Through the billowing dirt and rust kicked up by the Edict of Storms, you make out the shifting silhouettes of a small group ahead of you, appearing lightly armed and armoured. The group pulls two carts in their wake. They haven't noticed you for this maelstrom. I'm going to attempt subterfuge. Allow them to pass by without making your presence known. They continue to pass without noticing you and fade into the wailing winds. I kind of thought there'd be a murder them viciously, option there, but unfortunately, no, there wasn't. So that's fine. I'm completely okay with that. Not salty at all. Okay, I'm slightly salty. Right, so we're now here at Sentinel Stand. Stand, whatever you want to call it.
Can't do that. I see that Kyros' wrath still tears at the great fortress of Sentinel Stand.
It's not really a great fortress anymore, though, is it? It's little more than a pile of...
Can't do that.
Well, it's a little more than a storm's folly, or whatever you want to call it. It's pointless now. It's what it is. It's pointless. Ratovec. The scout straightens as you approach, squinting through the harsh winds. Are you support that Ash sent out? I'm gonna say nothing. They said you might be eccentric. It's fine. You come to expect these things in the north, especially while trying to stay on an Archon's good side. We've been patrolling the outer walls, but there's no sign of the enemy. Either they know not to come here, or they're better at hiding it than I credited. Damn rebels shift about like the winds. They do. Have you run into any Unbroken recently? More than a fortnight ago, but she dashed off right quick before we could knock arrows. They're a cautious lot, but cunning. Not even Kyros could have expected them to use the storm to their advantage. Can we enter the fortress? In these winds, I wouldn't venture to try it if I had 1,000 shields to guard me. Come take a look and you'll understand.
I got it.
I mean, first things first, we're going to go see if there's any loot over here first.
Can't.
Luckily there was, so I'm quite happy with that. Let's continue, press on and see what this he means. Nothing has changed. This is the very storm that shattered the Unbroken and disfavored alike. Thank you for bringing me here, fatebinder. Barrack regards the wind wall and the massive tornado around the inner keep, which is distant, but is but a distant outline. Stratus Hirodin, the last stalwart regent, cowers behind the walls of his castle, and we won't be able to reach him through this storm. This place brings back unpleasant memories. The only thing I'm only interested in one thing: how we get inside. Couldn't say. The powers fighting over this realm must have some notion, otherwise they wouldn't squabble for control over this blasted wasteland. We should track down someone with answers. Hear that? We're not alone. Taking a step forward, Verse draws her weapon and scans the surroundings. You catch an odd sound in the wind, a low moan hidden within a cacophony of swirling dirt and metal debris. The cloud of dust seems to close in upon you. Within them, you see patches of glowing red. It's the Banes! And we've unlocked the Iron Storm ability, which is actually one of my favourite combo attacks. The only problem is I need to be the best way to use it is if you're using it as a tank. You know, fuck it. Let's try and use it right now, see how it works. I'll see if it goes well. Didn't seem to work the best, but can't expect too much now, can you? Let's fuck these Banes up.
Oh, I did not see that coming.
Right, well, looks like I'm gonna have to do some physical attacks.
Will do.
Physical attacks aren't really my forte.
Will do.
Ooh, let's try and use more magic.
This is embarrassing.
Actually, I'm gonna have a quick look. My control fire is pretty weak, which obviously is the reason it's I'm sucking so much in that regard. Whereas my lightning and frost is a lot higher. I don't need to join in there. The Bane was I knew the Bane was fucked. The Bane are gone. Their unnatural cry silenced, leaving only the tornado of violence in your ears. As the dust cloud recede, you spot a crouched figure on the wall above.
We've got a scout. Look there on top of the wall.
A soldier kneels behind the ruined parapets. You can tell by his raiment and old stalwart gear that he's an unbroken soldier. He peers at you with a mixture of caution and curiosity. You handle the Bane well enough, but what brings you to this forsaken place? He pauses as recognition dawns in his eyes. You don't look like the typical rank and file of Kyros' army, but you're no son of stalwart either. He squints at your raiment and takes your measure. No, you're the fatebinder who broke past the Vendring Guard. I think you'll find yonder wind wall a tougher nut to crack than the Apex Citadel. He chuckles to himself. I'm here to kill, wait. My business is my own. No sense in revealing our mission without cause, especially since we're likely to likely run this lout through and leave his corpse for the storm to pick apart. I suggest you make like a storm on below, because you're not getting inside this fortress. When you report back to your master, tell him that first scout Janos sent you off with your tail tucked between your legs. Perseverance opened the sunset spire. It'll crack Stalwart's little wind wall. He straightens his posture and appraises you in silence. I can say this much. You buy into what you're preaching, and I have to respect that. Both your folks have tried to get into Sentinel Stand and failed, but none of them had a spire to call home. See, yeah, why do the Unbroken hate Staridus Herodin? He's a spineless old man who hides behind his soldiers and doesn't possess any of the values he hammers into others. Oh, sorry, I was talking about Graven Ash. Janos flashes you a crude sign with his fingers. Would that I had the strength to tear down this wall and kill him myself. Herodin is a relic of the past, and we're looking to the future. We don't have any hope of scoping out from under Kyros' thumb while the old regent enjoys his twilight years sipping dusty wine and hiding from the war. How can I get into Sentinel Stand? Throwing yourself to the wind wall comes to mind. Take a few steps inside and see how long it takes for the wind to strip you down to your skeleton. I'd love to stay and chat, but it's high time that I report on your presence to my superior officer. Be seeing you, Fatebinder. Though you might not see me. He ducks by the parapet and vanishes into obscurity of the storm. Damn that vain southern wretch. Ratvik spits. The Unbroken know the territory better than us, and take every opportunity to flaunt it. What was that scout even doing here? Look, there's a corpse on the wall. Might bear a closer look. I can't tell from here, but I think it's wearing disfavored colours. Well, I guess it's a good idea to see what these guys have got. Used armorer's kit, Amelia's battle standard, and well, okay, the body has been here a long time, and the storm has long since eroded skin from bones. Tucked away in one of the gauntlets, you find the scrap of a distinctive battle standard. That's a general's family crest. Amelia and her unit must have come through here. It seems a lifetime ago that we marched on Sentinel Stand. At least this proves we're on the right track. So close, too. The girl might still be alive out there. He looks out to the wind wall with regret. So what are the next steps? Ash bade us bring order to the region, but we need to learn as much of this about his daughter as possible. I heard tell of an unbroken fort called Duskwatch. One of our soldiers has been imprisoned there since around the time Amelia's unit went missing. I'll wager anything if we shattered the unbroken defense. We'll learn more about her whereabouts. Barak is correct. They took Callius captive, supposedly one of the Stone Shield who travelled with Amelia. You ought to make contact with Osmosis, the commander in charge of taking Dustwatch. I'm sure he would appreciate the aid of a Fatebinder. You go on ahead. I'll need to double back and relay this to Ash. That should raise the old man's spirits there.
Sorry, I can't.
Some new boots, and we'll once we've got all the loot, we can figure out how good any of this loot is and if I want to keep any. So, let's have a look at it. So we've got heavy leather gloves, which don't seem to be anything interesting. I'm actually going to give them to Verse. Is this better than your current armor? No. And what's this? This is just merchant boots. Yeah, they're just shit. Right, let's get ourselves out of the region. And get ourselves to the next place. So yeah, a soldier by the name of Kyros has been held by the Unbroken at Dustwatch. That's where we need to go. Right, to Dustwatch Fort. 12 hours isn't that long, I'd say, to get there. I'd say that's a fair amount of time, personally. We've got a new message from fatebinder Mythios. On the subject of the spires. Galerius, do you remember your training under Blade and Mark? I remember mine. Funny to think that you and I are about a century apart, but to Blade and Mark, we are all children. I am now the oldest of the court's children, and I've seen much in my time. It's probably for the best that everyone assumes I'm old, harmless, and worth shuffling away in the archives. If I were scrutinized too closely, I'm sure Tunon would find I've grown lax in my spoiled old age. Part of why I am here, why I'm where I am, is that I've kept my head down. You appear to be doing the opposite. In some regards, this is beyond your control. You were chosen for the honor of proclaiming Kyros' edict, twice. To decline would have meant death, but to accept means to be placed on the stage for all to see. Kyros' most powerful weapon is not the edict, it's her ability to hand us the rope that we willingly use to hang ourselves. Never forget this. There are numerous questions nestled in your request. What is it you wish to know most? Focus your inquiry, and I will answer as best I can. Ask about the spires. Dear Mythios, it seems wise to know one's own domain, and seeing as I'm now the master of the mountain spire, I ought to learn all that I can. If you would share with me what you know of the spires, I would be in your debt. I'll start with what I know, and have observed so far. The mountain spire seemed to be awakened at the same instant that Kyros' edict of execution was put to rest. There was a burst of arcane energy that drowned out my senses, and I awoke at the summit of the spire in what seemed to be just a few heartbeats of time. Atop the spire is an old sculpture of sorts, and it seems to be the core of the spire's mystic energy. I've been seeing visions and receiving sensation from the sculpture. It seems odd to describe it as talking to me, but that seems to be the closest analogy. Am I the first to report such things? There are other spires elsewhere in the world, correct? There we go. I'll take 1 day to get there. While we're doing that, let's talk to the Crescent Runner. As you can see, Dustwatch is closed off to the likes of us, else I would be taking shelter from the storm. The disfavored scout struggles to recall your features, then his eyes open in dawning comprehension. Ah, the fatebinder of Tunon. Commander Osmosius told me that I should look out for your company, but I didn't expect anyone from this high up the food chain. He beckons for you to follow. Due east of here, a unit gathers its strength to take Dustwatch. Follow me. He glanced up to Barak in sudden bewilderment. You're the biggest stone shield I've ever seen. How do you run around an arm like that? With great effort, but I must keep moving to stave off the rust. My calves have bulged to the size of piglets. The sentry shakes his head to dispel the thoughts and focus back on you. Let's go. Shit, there we go. That was an accident right there. Let's get ourselves over here. The disfavored commander wears his armor over broad shoulders and stands as if he knows it all too well. Gravenash protects. Osmosius, 32nd Legion, a pleasure to have you join us. Even this close to Iron Heath, we need all the help we can get. He frowns at Barak. Still trapped, I see. How are you faring under there, soldier? It's challenging enough to fit food through this stubborn iron bucket. I have gained several hundred pounds of iron and muscle over the last year, and I smell like a mass grave left open to the sun. But I am, for the moment, upright. He nods to Osmosis. Osmosis. I think that's... Oh, fuck it. His name doesn't matter. As you might be able to tell, this fort is a tough nut to crack. The Unbroken aren't too keen on surrendering, and our preliminary attacks have yet to break through. One of our soldiers is chained inside, Kyros, and will go to any lengths to get him out. He glances at the fort with longing. With what's your business with the Dust Watch? I expect you come to aid in the war effort, but when it comes to Tunon's agents, it pays not to make assumptions. I'm here to help the disfavored and put an end to the Unbroken. His interest piques, is that right? Well, welcome aboard. We're not without defences, but we could always use an extra warm body to support the phalanx. The Unbroken are trying to enter Sentinel stand, and we are mean to put a stop to it. Day and night my forces have battered themselves against those walls, but even the tireless disfavored have their limits. I'm afraid we're out of commission until Ash's Aegis takes the edge off and knits our wounds closed. You look lively enough. What say you help us get Kyros out and soften up the Unbroken for execution? Count me in. The Unbroken will shatter against our offensive. Before you get too excited, your job is to infiltrate the base under the cover of night and extract the prisoner. Don't let anyone spot you. If you alert them while inside, you'll be on your own. Kyros is a good soldier, and he's been in broken hands longer than anyone should have to endure. You might think him just another stone shield, but Ash holds the lives of his troops in high regard. So we should consider the recovery effort as important as taking Dustwatch itself. There are a few structural weaknesses along the perimeter, which should help you sneak in. After Kyros opens the front gate, and from the inside he flashes you a creepy grin. We'll flood the keep and make short work of Agathon's soldiers. Are you ready to begin? I'm ready. Dustwatch is all but ours. Eager, are we? Good. He pats your shoulder. Make your move as soon as night falls. Remember to stay out of sight. Go for Kyros. We'll wait for you to open the gates from inside, but we can't help you until that happens. Good hunting.
Yes.
So let's just go a quick search of the perimeter. So there's one of the ways in. There is a specific way that I'm going to take in, because we'll see the entire fort, but there's a way specifically that I want to take, so we're going to go that way. I should be able to get to it from just walking around here. There's another way which gets you right in the back of the fort. And here's the way I'm going to go in, because it's the closest to where we want to be. But like I said, I'm just going to quickly do a search of the perimeter so I can see if there's any loot we need out here. I say need, it's more any loot we want. No, there's no loot. Good. Right, let's bring ourselves back up to here.
On the lookout.
And once we get there, we'll...
Time to lighten my step.
And we're going to enter the fort via subterfuge.
Heads up, we have come.
See, this is the problem. I didn't have my guys on stealth, so we just instantly went in without stealthing. Barrack, please grab all their attention before Verse gets killed. Okay, you didn't grab that cunt's attention, so we're gonna I need to get rid of this cunt first. Yeah, so we should have so this is why we should have stealth, but I'm really not against killing these guys ourselves, if I'm honest.
On it.
Gives me some lovely combat.
Will do.
Damn thing couldn't pierce claw.
Yeah, Verse, come on, let's get this shit. Oh, fuck, it got cancelled. Well, fuck you then, we're using this.
Someone stitch me
Now,
up.
one thing I will say is this ability I'm about to use now is once per rest, if I remember correctly. Actually, it can't be because we've already used it. So is it still? Yeah, it's once per rest. So I guess changing map counts as a rest these days. Let's use our Rim Frost on this cunt, and then we'll use our Electric.
Sorry, I can't.
You can, you motherfucker. Do it. Go smack him to go put the smack down on him. There we go. Right, pull out of there. Pull away from there so we don't
I'll stay down.
don't set these idiots on. That's it. We could just run over here. Oh shit, no we can't. Right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue this in the next part. If you guys enjoyed, see you guys in the next part. See you guys then.